Good evening, Greg here. Burn at both ends, burning on the back end of Thursday. It's 12:10 a.m. It is technically the 8th of February, but we are reflecting on the 7th of February, 2019. And I want to light up a conversation about an amazing experience I had today. And I owe it all to Garyvee. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of Garyvee, been following his content, consuming it since roughly March. I tried to pinpoint the exact date and time, and I couldn't. I think it was like March 24th or something like that. Anyway, but it was March-ish, 2018, and been consuming a lot, pretty much on a daily basis, I'd say. At least, if not once a day, every other day or so. Mostly on SoundCloud. Anyway, so I was at Photonics West, which is a conference for lasers and optics and components and, you know, that whole industry. It was in San Francisco just the other day. I was there on Wednesday, and we were talking to a vendor, and this was a great experience. So talking to the vendor and talking to like one of the experts, older gentleman, and next to him was a younger gentleman that looked a lot like his son. And at one point in the conversation, the son was introduced, and he kind of like piped up and he like declared like, "Yeah, this is my dad." And he did it in such a way that like he was like so proud that he was working with his dad. And for some reason that just like stuck in my head, that little experience, that, you know, 3 seconds of declaration that this young kid made. And anyway, I got his business card. I mean, we're not going to do business with them because what they do doesn't really support specifically what we do. But that's beside the point. So then the next day, actually today, I was going through the business cards I got, you know, and I write little notes on each one just so I remember, you know, who I spoke to and what we talked about. And I got to his business card, and that image of him kind of being excited to work for his dad just popped in my head. And I immediately thought about Garyvee, and I was like, you know what? Gary started working for his dad at the liquor store, and I'm like, wow, this kid working for his dad, doing some really cool things. They're in a great industry. And I got to tell this kid about Garyvee. And so I wrote on the card, tell him about Garyvee. And so I sent him an email like right then, and I said, hey, if I remember correctly, you're the young man, you work for your father. If I'm right about that, give me a call. I got something to tell you. And so literally in 5 minutes he called. We're on the phone, we're talking, and you know, and I'm very transparent because I hate wasting people's time. And so I was like, hey, his name is David. I'm like, hey, David, met you yesterday. You probably don't remember, but I remember you really like being proud to work for your dad. And I was going to go into some long explanation. I'm like, you know what? Let me just cut to the chase. Have you ever heard of a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk? And he just goes, oh my gosh, I totally know Gary Vaynerchuk. I love that dude, blah, blah, blah. I follow him. I bought content, so on, you know, and he just, I could feel him light up on the phone. And the really cool thing that happened next was like an instant connection because we both consume Gary's content. It was weird, like, because it was powerful. I like felt it over the phone. Like no more needed to be said about Gary and what he does and blah 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 and this and the other thing. And that was just awesome. And then so I went right into 5149. I was like, you know what, David, I have some entrepreneurial experience. I love business. If you ever want to give me a call and talk about anything, you ever need help with anything that you're trying to do, please give me a call. I'd love to help. And then he goes right into, hey, you know, I'm working for my dad now. I've also started, you know, 2 other businesses. So I'm like really in the grind. I'm in the game, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, that's so awesome. But still, yeah, if you ever want to chat, I'm here. And don't forget, like, we barely even met at the conference. I mean, barely. I mean, maybe we said our first names to each other. And here we are on the phone connecting over Garyvee, like, and what I felt really, and this is cheesy, but it's the truth. I can't deny it. Like, I think that I'm going to be a lifelong friend of this young kid, David. I mean, he might have been in his mid-20s. So just really cool. And then so after I said, hey, you know, I'd love to help you, whatever you need, let me know. And then I could tell he was so psyched when he was telling me about his businesses. And he even said, hey man, I'm getting goosebumps right now, which is an interesting thing. And that hit me in an awesome way. And it did because, like, the way I was brought up, like, a man would never, you know, at least this is like how I think when I was taught, not that I was taught specifically about Goosebumps, but sort of the way that like my dad was I would never tell another man that I'm getting goosebumps by what he's telling me, right? That's a vulnerability. That's, maybe even admitting a weakness. Maybe that's a little bit weird and awkward. But when he said that, that just lit me up. It just felt so good that here randomly I connected with this young man, and here we are just like sharing this bond, and just, I don't know, like the relationship like went deep at that moment, and I thought that was just awesome. And so anyway, so I forget how we wrapped it up, but we just chatted for a little bit more. He was in the middle of the conference, so he had to go. Oh yeah, I remember. So then he asked if I was still at the conference. I said, no, I'm back at work. I was just there for the one day. And he's like, well, you come back next year, lunch is on me. And then we got into Simon Sinek, and I was like, okay, you gotta know the infinite game. And of course he did. I'm like, all right, dude, I'm all about long term. A year from now, I'll take you up on that lunch. And he was like so down with that. So we're doing lunch, Photonics West 2020. I'm psyched for it. And then after we hung up, in my phone, I put a reminder. So every quarter, I'm going to give him a call and just see what's up. See if I can help it out in any way. Just see how he's doing. So, but this was, I don't know, it was just, I forget what time. It's like maybe like 11:30 in the morning, 11 in the morning, something like that. But it was just one of those things that just, I want to give back. I want to be of service. I want to just spread the love. And Gary, if you're watching this, you're going to love this one. It was, I don't know, one podcast I was listening to, right? So I consume your podcast on SoundCloud, and I forget which one it was. One of the most recent ones that you posted. But at the end of the podcast, you kind of do this little like jab where you're like, I don't know what you say, something like, please subscribe. I know a lot of you consume this and you're not subscribing, and please share it with your friends. And I know you're not sharing because I'm watching. Like you say something like that. And that little thing stuck in my mind. And I think that when I saw this kid's card, that little kind of jab popped up. And I was like, you know what? Let me call this cat and spread some Garyvee love. And so worked out pretty well. So anyway, my theory is I have a lifelong friend right now, and let's see, 2050 I'm going to be talking with this kid. He won't be a kid anymore, and we'll be sharing stories, and we'll be watching each other grow over these years. So just an awesome experience. So I will leave it there. Just another day in the life of an aspiring entrepreneur. That's what this channel is all about my experiences, the things I'm doing, things I'm trying, things I'm tasting. And that's it. So I'm going to wrap there. So please subscribe if you like what you hear. Comment down below. Ask whatever you want. Give me some feedback. If there's anything I can do to help, please, I'd love to try. So please go ahead and ask. The beat in the background, G-Money is my alter ego. I write these beats. They're on SoundCloud. Check them out if you like that kind of thing. Other than that, get some rest. I'm psyched to go to sleep myself. Wake up tomorrow, crush it, light it up, do great things, inspire folks, be kind, and I'll catch you later.